right, welcome to podcast number 2 with the Snowbirds on November 15th. My birthday was yesterday, so I forget what day it is the day after. So it was exciting times. Exciting times. Last week we went over Cargo Refactor and things like that. Last month we did a video over SitCon, and now we're approaching IAE. Pretty exciting times. This is probably the biggest event that I would argue that Star Citizen has um, all year. Probably next in line would be Invictus, but that's another topic. But IAE is for a reminder for everybody, is the de facto ship sales, basically. So this is where they release concepts. This is where they go straight to flywables. This is where you get to see what games look like in the shipment of the current release of the game. So that's basically what we're coming up to. So that starts November 18th. Day one's Drake, and the exciting thing is the release of the Corsair. So today's topics, IE, obviously. Our goal today is to talk about our excitement about IE and what we expect to see. Probably some rumor talk, not confirmed, but rumor talk. And then we also kind of want to touch upon a 318 subject called Gen 12 renderer, which is kind of important alongside the cargo refactor. So, yeah. And to remind people what the Gen 12 renderer is it is the pipeline in which the game renders graphics. And the reason why it's so big coming up is because it's changing the last remaining bit of render code to go use the new render pipeline that your graphics card will use as opposed to your CPU. And this is a big thing. This moves a lot of tasks and a lot of rendering algorithms to your graphics card, which means that now your graphics card is going to matter. So that's the big thing. So I'm King Payne, and I got my cohorts and criminals and partnerships here, Void Walker Joe and Shadow Spectre. So
You're mirrored, by the way. It went the other way in the video. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to like remember that in the future. But yeah, I want to do this instead.
Yeah, it's easier.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. That's kind of the blurb. So let's Joe, let's start with you. What's up? And what are you looking forward? Like, what do you want to touch on first, buddy?
Oh man. Well, I honestly don't know. Like, where do you guys want to start? I don't know. We didn't really talk about what IAE. Want to start with that?
All right. Let's start with IAE. Hot button.
Well, I think as far as I'll start with, I guess, my excitement level for this one. It's definitely up there. I think this is the most I've ever been excited because I guess in the past I really I've only been playing for 2.5 years now. And in the past I really didn't do too much research, and so whenever they had any of these events, it's kind of like the new ships are announced and they're kind of cool, but most of the time the concepts and then whatever's straight to flyable hasn't really been that exciting, at least for me. So this is the first time where I have the most amount of knowledge about stuff in Star Citizen and how sales work, and kind of we've been given some pretty tasty leaks about stuff. And the big thing is the Corsair coming out, which everybody's all excited for. Most people are. And yeah, I've had that shit for a long time now, and I'm just really excited to get my hands on it. And then something else is we'll talk about the Galaxy later, but that thing, I don't think it's coming out this time.
Easily not.
based off of what CIG have come out and said about the leaks and misinformation and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Looks like that whole concept is kind of scrubbed. But anyways, yeah, I'm this is the one I'm most excited for, and I think they're gonna get better and better after this, just because we keep getting bigger as a game, and bigger
Yeah, every
ships
patch.
and stuff like that. I think we're really close to maybe seeing some of the concept cap ships maybe for next year start to slowly come out, as long as things work out with PES and the patches after 3.18. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my general thoughts.
Yeah. Shadow, what's your general thoughts?
Dude, this is my second IE. I am so pumped. I'm just gonna say it. I mean, the first one that I went to, I was only in the game for like maybe less than 2 weeks, and I went to it and I was like flabbergasted because it was my first one. I got to see all the cool ships. That's where I got to fly the C2 alone for the first time, and didn't know what I was doing, but I took it for a ride anyway. And just seeing all the new things. I didn't get anything during IAE last year, but I'm super hyped for this one because it's got some ships that I really want to try out and see if they're really good. And I have more knowledge than I did when I went to the first one. So, yeah, I've been doing some research myself to see what's going to be good and what's not going to be worth it to me. So, I'm just pumped. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I'm always excited around IE. Kind of as my partners here pointed out, basically, it's the excitement. It's new things coming about. We get to see bigger and bigger things. We see new announcements. We see all sorts of stuff, and we also get the videos with Jax and Whitley's guide and stuff like that. I'm pretty excited for that because I love those little animations. They're fun and amazing. I mean, I remember when the Redeemer the Redeemer was coming out and they pooped paint all over the top of the Microtech building.
Yeah. I
It's
loved it.
fantastic.
I loved it last year because the Spartan came
Yeah.
out and they were doing the test run and it had all the executives in the back. That was awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Um, so yeah, so we've kind of gone over what IE is and our general excitement and stuff like that. So let's talk about the ship. I'm gonna call it the premier ship, honestly, because it's really what it is. Everybody's focused on what the Corsair is going to be, and that's great. Let's talk about the Corsair for a bit. I know that when I got first introduced to the game, and my first ship was an Aurora, and I will stand by my hatred for it. Um, and I started looking at ships, and I saw the Corsair, and I thought it was a really cool design. And I'm pretty sure that many people will share the sentiment too. It is very Old Republic Star Wars for me, much like kind of like the MSR to me represents the Ebon Hawk from the Old Republic video games, in a way.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
and
true. It
so.
does.
Yeah, it's just that kind of ship. It's that smuggler ship. It's that that transporter ship. It's that merc ship. It's that ship that she doesn't she doesn't have to be the most powerful ship, but she has to be the most gratifying ship in the way she handles and the way she flies and all that stuff. Anyway, the Corsair is probably going to mount a good counter to the MSR and also a good counter to the constellations. Um, So a little bit of the specs on it, but it's like 55 meters in length, which I think is about the length of a MSR from front to back, and you get 72 SCUs out of it. Which, to be fair, that's pretty low on the spectrum of cargo capacity. I think this ship is going to be more for hauling vehicles and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, I expect it to be a great ship. To be honest, I don't think it's going to be any kind of a drag on other things. Kind of like how I feel about the Cutlass, for example. Like, I don't think the Cutlass is a great ship, but I think the Corsair is going to pull punches hard, and it's going to come out swinging. So, yeah. Let's take it to Shadow. What's your thoughts on the premiership of the Corsair?
Well, I'm not a heavy fan of the Drake ships. I the one that I actually have that I intend to get later on is the Cutlass Red for what my organization does. And I'm I do want to fly the Corsair to get the feel of it, see what it's like, and maybe along the road down the road I'll get it in game. But if I get the chance to fly one, and then I can make my determination and go from there. But I have to say, the ship is highly weaponized,
What
to
you
say
expect
the
from a Drake?
least. Yeah, to say the least. And that I'm gonna say it, that elevator, that one elevator that lifts to outside of the ship, that is freaking cool. That is one feature that I do like about that ship more than anything. So
A
you
lot of
can do
people
an
popping up with railguns
yeah,
in the
Yeah.
middle of a fight or
yeah.
something.
I mean, you can do EVA right off the hull with that elevator. So it's going to be interesting to see how that mechanic is going to work.
Oh yeah,
Um,
totally.
but that's pretty much it. I'm just excited for the IE altogether, but I am excited to fly that ship and see what it's like.
Okay, right on. Hey Joe, what's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, you guys pretty much said everything I'm excited about for the Corsair. Um, but yeah, your comparison with like Old Republic and stuff, just anything that's like, well, I think of it more of like, if it were to just transfer over to Star Wars, it'd be more of like a rebel ship because it's kind of Drake
Mhm.
is kind of like, the joke is it's held together with duct tape and all that. It's very I guess you could kind of just use it for whatever you want. It's kind of just pieced together with scrap and stuff, and
Mhm.
yeah, I like that. Um, to me, it kind of seems like a heavier gunned, little bit of a bigger end of like a cutlass, like what a cutlass would be if it was bigger. Um, for me, it's gonna like my daily driver has lately has been the cutlass just because the cutlass red is so useful, and yeah, but this is definitely going to replace everything else that I fly for a while, unless it's just absolutely terrible at maneuvering. If it's really just awful flying, then I don't know. We'll see. But I can't imagine it being that bad. Really, it's not that big of a ship. Shouldn't be. I can't imagine it being that big of a slugfest. Really. Um. But yeah, I'm gonna use this thing for everything.
I think I think it's just shy of that of a Corsair. I imagine it'll handle a bit like the Corsair. Excuse me. I imagine the Corsair will handle a bit like a Constellation due to its length and stuff like that. So if you can handle doing a Constellation, I think you could probably handle doing a Corsair.
Hmm.
And I'm making assumptions based upon the feel I have with other ships.
Yeah.
of that length.
And
But
I think I'd be fine with that too.
yeah, if it handles like a Connie, I mean, cool, no problem. You know, I flew Constellation for a long time, and it definitely is something to be had. Like it Connie makes a great missile boat.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. My wife got home and the dog's just like, people.
It's okay. Mine were like that earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's gonna be a great ship to fly and explore around the moon, stuff like that, drag a vehicle like an Ursa rover with you, or and other things like that. I don't think you're gonna want to trade with it. I don't think it's gonna be a great trading ship at all.
No. No.
Especially when you get a hull A for what, a tenth of the price, you know, hull A, and it does 64 SCU. And
This is
and all
the
that.
ship that, you know, you're kind of gonna bring it into a certain situation, and you know, you're gonna be like, oh, there's cargo here. You know, it's like cargo is gonna be an unexpected factor, and you're gonna. It just so happens that you got space for cargo, so like, why not?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Go right ahead. We'll take a few minutes. Alright. While Joe is
Yeah.
doing that, I'm going to go say welcome to my wife. See if she's
No worries.
Hey Joe, can you give me a minute? I gotta help my wife real quick.
Go ahead.
My apologies, guys.
No, you're good. You're
No
good.
worries,
You're good.
dude.
You're good.
We can cut this out, right?
Sure. Why not?
Um, so I do have one thing about the Corsair. I'm kind of apprehensive about the ship, Joe.
Okay.
And the one reason why, and this IAE, the war at home. What
They,
is?
all right.
Yeah.
All right. So here, I'll actually bring out the tweet that was put out today. So there is the Twitter AMA for IAE. Let me bring that up real quick. They actually addressed this and kind of explain like what it was, but I want to read it word for word because I don't want to butcher it.
Right.
Let's see.
It's like, okay, what are we going to encounter since we're
Oh,
at this type of situation?
it's nothing like that. It's kind of more of like the current situation as of now in the verse. And as you know, we've had the stuff with Orson and Nine Tails happen, so it's a little bit because of that. And then currently we're in an I think we're in an ongoing war with the Vandal, and so the Vandal have a part to play. So between all the crime is at all-time high because of the Vandal, and then you have what they were saying in the tweet is that Xenothreat. They kind of tease that Xenothreat's kind of coming back. I don't think it's now. I don't think it's during the event.
Yeah.
But sometime after, they're gonna, Xenothreat's gonna pop up with a updated event. It's gonna be a little bit better. And but essentially, I can't find the tweet right now. But that's essentially what it was saying. Is it was just, a lore reason, a lore explanation of what.
Preparation.
Yeah, just everything's tense. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Back.
Welcome
my
back.
wife got me.
Ah.
God,
Awesome.
I wish Legos weren't so fucking expensive. My God. Like I like Legos, but I don't get into it at all just because it's ridiculous in price. So.
Yeah. it gets pretty bad. I want to do a Star Destroyer, but they're like $600. I'm
Hold
like,
on.
no.
I do have
Get
one.
out.
This guy
That's awesome.
from
I got a TIE Fighter.
from the video games.
Right?
That's awesome. Yeah, from
Jedi
Fallen
Fallen
Jedi.
Order.
But
Then I got
the game doesn't get a lot of love, so I figured I had to get that one.
Fallen
Oh.
Order. I played through. It was really good. But yeah, let's get back on topic here. Anyway. Okay. Engine just fell off
You know-
for no reason.
You know what you do if you have you mentioned earlier? Oh, it's another TIE fighter. You know what you do?
What?
Those red bricks, those red accented bricks, change it to a different color, and then it's a different squadron.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
So I mean,
But
there's that.
Well, my goal is I'm gonna have a better background in the near future. But anyway, yeah. All right. So back on topic here, kind of gone over the how the Corsair is gonna work, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be a cool ship. But I think knowing CIG, there's a good possibility that there's going to be more than just the Corsair coming out, even straight to flyable. I have no idea what this is going to be. Just disclaimer off the top of my head. But I know like last year and the year before, we had some surprise ships just drop.
Mhm.
And it seems to be a theme. Everybody I talked to has been for more than 2 IAEs. It's just a theme. There's hey, straight to flyyables. Here we go. And not only that, CIG is really up the ante on how their ship pipeline has gone, and they're releasing ships and things that are relatively important to the gameplay at hand or gameplay coming out, and then, like immediately. So,
Yeah.
for
That's why
example,
Drake is the forefront.
right? Exactly.
Salvage
Exactly
and
why
everything.
Drake. Mm-hmm.
And
Salvage is coming out next
Corsair,
month, right?
great for pirating. So of course, pirating is going to get better with salvage and the husks and soft death and all that stuff. So
Well, last year, straight to flyyables were the Redeemer and the 400, right? If I'm correct.
it was the Scorpius, not the Redeemer, right? Or was it the Redeemer? I don't remember.
The Scorpius was straight to flyable Invictus.
No. So as a reminder, straight to flyable means that they have no announcement or concept
Oh, okay.
provided to the player base or the
Okay.
pledging base.
Okay.
So all of the ships had announcement. I think the 400, well, even the 400i was talked about pre-IAE. Like it was just said in an ISC of it. It's like, oh yeah, here's a new ship. Now straight to flyable means oh, hey, here you go. So
Okay. Like the STV during CitizenCon.
yeah, exactly. The STB, no warning, just here you go. It's available. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, but I know that's splitting hairs, and I apologize. I don't mean to be kind of
No,
a pointer
but
on it.
but I really didn't know that. I really didn't.
Yeah.
So appreciate the information.
Yeah, please just take it as info. Nothing I'm badgering anybody about. Yeah, I suspect we're going to get more ground vehicles, especially with the Corsair having such a huge rump garage. I suspect I don't know, but we might get that Tumbrel not Cyclone, but
Ranger?
The
the Ranger. We might get that.
Well, I have something to say about that too. So
Oh, yeah?
you guys are kind of going off of the Spectrum post, right? About there's a Spectrum post. It kind of started with I think
screenshot.
yesterday.
Yep.
Well, somebody posted a screenshot and there was like some rocks in the background that they thought was the Ranger. But if
Yeah.
you zoom in, it's totally rocks for sure, 100%.
Really?
Oh yeah,
I didn't know about this.
Well, CIG, somebody from CIG came on there and they were like, "That answer is correct" or something like that, something weird. And
Yeah.
but I think he was talking to somebody else that replied, because everybody started going off on their own memes and stuff, like inserting Bigfoot and stuff like that over there. But pretty funny.
Right.
But yeah, zooming in, there's no Ranger there. It's just rocks. But Yeah, the Ranger. I know that it got a little bit of work at least.
Absolutely.
But that's something. Again, we don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe it'll come out.
it's a
I don't know.
maybe. It's just an example because, like, for example, like the hover quad, right? Like, nobody thought that was coming out until like they started talking about it. There was no concept time, right? It was like, hey, we did this kind of ship, and it's going to be available in this patch. And I suspect that we may not get a Ranger, right? But we may get something else, something smaller for pathfinding or something, or we may get another kind of rover, maybe a Drake rover of some type, like how the Ursa rover is for RSI, right? We might get something like that. I mean, that's if you think about it, the Spartan chassis, where the Spartan, or is it the Atlas chassis? Sorry,
Yeah.
where the Spartan and the
Centurion
Centurion, and what was the other
and
one?
Ballista.
The Ballista. All three of those are on the same chassis. So what they might do is maybe something like that. It may not even be a Drake land vehicle. It could be Tumbrel. It could be, whoever else. Kruger. I even have something come out, which I wouldn't think that would be possible. But
Maybe they want to
needless,
dabble a little bit. You never know. CEO wants
yeah.
to dip his hands into something else.
You know what? I made a joke when the Mule came out. So my opinion, so the Drake Mule is basically an Argo vehicle that was absorbed by Drake.
I remember.
It doesn't look like a Drake vehicle, right?
Yeah.
And I hope maybe someday somebody will pick this idea up at CIG, but maybe Drake hired a guy from Argo or a gal from Argo, and they stole plans for like an Argo camel, and it was the exact same vehicle.
Right. Right. Could have been.
I
I
think
think
that'd be hilarious.
I think something like that happened in real life, where probably the designers were gonna go initially with Argo, and they're like, "No, Drake," and then they're having a, little bit of a discussion with it in the office, and then they just, yeah,
Oh, that's so exciting! Like
slap
that's
Drake
so
on there.
hilarious. Just slap Drake on it. It's all it is, and it does play to the point of piracy for Drake too. Uh, yeah. So yeah, there's other rumor talk. I guess we can bring up as far as like capital size ships, there's always a possibility, kind of like what they do with Invictus, where they'll have a touring band like that happened only at Invictus, but there was always been rumors um, amongst the community about capital ships showing up. And I know that in game now, if you fly around, especially microtech moons, you'll have Idrises just come down and check you out, leave at random. It's really interesting, especially down around the snake pit. I've had that happen a handful of times, especially when I'm doing combat missions. They'll just show up in fleet, and not saying that something will, but I'm saying it's possible. You never know. They always have the Javelin pop in. Then there's the Bengal that tours the system during Invictus. But what if something like a Hull C just shows up? Not that that's that capital, but it's still a larger ship. So
Honestly, anything different,
well,
yeah. But I think if they
yeah,
were gonna do that, they would want to go big,
yeah, go bigger.
Um, yeah, I think it'd be great if they did something, because I mean I think what was a great surprise at an Invictus, couple Invictuses ago, was when they first brought out the Bangle that Frida, or not the Bangle. Which one did you tour? It was the
Javelin.
yeah, the
Javelin.
Javelin, yeah. That was a great surprise. I mean, that was really cool.
Yeah. Oh, hands down.
Be right back. I gotta
Hold
do
on.
something really quickly.
No, go. Get out of here. Get out of here. Quit peeking. She's like, I'll be right here. Just staring. All right.
So I guess the other thing to bring up is ships that are in concept that could be released in the near future, like some that could be popped in as a surprise for IAE that aren't done yet, that are listed as not done yet. I think Hull C is definitely one of those. And that's like my top one right now, because I'm, with Imperial Logistics, we haul stuff and that's what we do. I think Hull C, I would love to see there's a medium refueler out there called the Vulcan. I think that could come in.
Okay.
The GATAC. What's up?
I'm looking up something here because I have something to say about all of this as well, because we got a little bit more from CIG today about all that.
Oh, interesting. This is just assumption. I'm not saying that it's going to come out. I'm just saying that these are ships I would like to see come out because we have the gameplay for it.
Well, you know what ship I want to see.
Yeah, the Genesis Starliner. Okay.
No. No.
Yeah.
You know which one I'm dying for.
Yeah. Let's see what else. G12. I wonder where that G12. The G12 could come out.
They told us exactly how many ships are going to be on the floor. So you could go off of that and kind of figure out at least how many new ships that we don't know about. Like kind of compare what's been on the floor last year, and because we can assume that all of those are going to be here at the very least. What was on the floor then, and kind of take the ships that we already know and that are legitimately going to be in there, and kind of like subtract from that a little bit. I think it was like 165 or 162 or something like that ships. 124 ships. Sorry about that.
This year, yeah, no, last year. I'm trying to remember how many ships there were last year. Trying to double check.
Yeah, good luck trying to figure that out real quick.
It wasn't 120. I could tell you that. I think it was more like 113, 114, and I'm guessing. By the way, I could be completely wrong, but that's what they. It definitely wasn't the same amount as we have this year. I can tell you that much.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely say so. To go further along that, so we wouldn't get a Nautilus because mine laying isn't in, but we could get a Vulcan because refueling's in.
The Vulcan does more than refueling, though.
Right, but how many ships do we have that do more than refueling or more than one thing that exists in the game now?
That was in the past, though. I don't think CIG wants to do that anymore. They want the existing game. They want it to coincide with the gameplay coming out. So I don't think. I think that for the Vulcan, they're probably going to wait for all of its features to be in game because I think they're trying to avoid, all the negativity of the past.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I agree with you there. The other one, I think you could probably make the argument for. I don't think the Expanse would make it because I think it's just too new in concept for it to actually hit the floor.
Mm-hmm.
But I think probably perhaps there's a wife yelling in the background. I think possibly perhaps there is, what's it called? I'm sorry, I'm trying to look it up. Trying to remember the name of it. Thought flatulence. Here we go. I don't think we'll see the Bandit Merchman.
No, that new Argo ship.
MCV?
Oh,
yeah, the MCV. I think that would be in the Hollow.
Probably.
Yeah, it'll definitely. I think you're gonna have a lot of new hollows come up. I think the Odyssey will be a hollow. I don't think the Odyssey is gonna come out until Pyro. But Odyssey could come out. It could be one of those ships that comes out. But I think doesn't the Odyssey have self-refining on it? If I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only for Quantanium though. That's it.
Mm.
So
Well, then that brings us to the Expanse. Like I said, I don't think it's going to come out, but that's something that could, if they had it done, pop out of nowhere. Um, so the other ships that I think we could actually see, so I think we'll see a holo on the Perseus and the Polaris. I don't think they've touched the Perseus. We'll probably see a holo on the Idris. Pretty much a given at that point. And I can probably say this with confidence that there's going to be unannounced things show up out of nowhere that we'll see. You know.
yeah, there
So
always is. So and those announcements keep getting bigger and bigger every year. And
yeah, absolutely.
this year is just insane for all the new ships. I mean, this is the biggest, I think, or the most ships that we've seen at an event as far as new ships or concept ships and all that.
Well,
Um,
I I can only wish that the SRB would drop. I can only
yeah,
wish.
yeah.
You know?
Oh, I remember the other one.
They would
The
have to
Apollos.
have the tractor beams ready, but they're not ready with that yet.
Yeah, they're not ready
Yeah,
yet.
I would love to have one Apollo show up. If they dropped one Apollo ship, I think that would be a major game changer for medical gameplay. First off, especially if you're in a fleet, especially if you're flying bunker side plant, bunker side missions, um, or even heck when Jumptown throws around, or if they do the Siege of Orison where they don't have where you take down the IFEs, you can actually fly a Apollo in to help heal people, or the rumored C8R emergency Pisces might show up on the Siege of Orson maybe after it comes around again after IAE, I imagine. Um, I think more medical gameplay is definitely, or more medical ships are definitely needed to come in because that is out. Dedicated medical ships can definitely come in now. That's a big thing. So I'm hoping, I'm praying, I'm hoping. I won't say I'm praying, but I'm hoping that we get more medical ships. Maybe this IAE. And if I could pick one ship that would drop, it would be the Apollo. That would be me.
Oh yeah, very
Joe, do you got a
excited for
ship?
that.
You got a ship you'd pick?
To be at IAE.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, there's pretty much everything that's in concept right now. I want. Well, see, my issue is I am excited for absolutely everything. So I'm pretty content, with the slow drip feed of stuff that we've been getting. Kind of keeps me going. I want to try. I'm somebody that wants to try everything. As I don't know what's going to be fun yet as far as gameplay. And seeing as we don't really got much gameplay, yeah, I get excited for everything. So, but yeah, the Apollo is definitely high up there. I mean, I think one day the BMM is going to be the center of whatever is the closest event at the time, whether it's Invictus or IAE or CitizenCon, one of those three.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be the center. I would think more along those lines of CitizenCon, but yeah, I would love to see that at like this IAE, but there's no effing way. That'd be the ship I pick just because I've centered my fleet around it, and my org is centered around the Banu and everything. So I'm just dying to learn more about that culture, I guess, and that whole there's so much culture into that ship alone that you can kind of get a better sense of what the Banu are like.
Kind of writes its own story.
But something I do want to see at these events a little bit more into something that I want to see CIG to put into these events a little bit more is other than ships, I want more lore. I want more of a story put in there. And kind of like what we were talking about, Shadow. I found that tweet, by the way, where you were saying why is the this year the theme of IAE is the war at home, and they replied With the Vandu war continuing to be the main focus of the UAE Navy, crime in Stanton has reached new fevered heights with the recent Nine Tails attack on Orson. Additionally, there have been increased concerns about the recent reports of Xenothreat forces being sighted coming 1-2, and I'm assuming that's January 2nd.
Interesting.
So I'm assuming that the 1-2 just means January 2nd. I could be wrong. I don't know what else that would be other than a date. But
Yeah.
Unless it's like a typo or something, I don't know. But
Right.
yeah, no, yeah. That's more of what I want to see. I want to see more of that lore within the IAE in future events. But that's kind of hard though, because they've tried with the events and failed last time they tried to do it. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, sometimes you gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelet. So
Yeah, I think it'll just keep getting better and better though. So
I think the
it'll get
quality
there.
of the quality of things are definitely getting better year on year, and events and stuff like that. Like IAE is the premier event only because it's straight focused on exactly what they're trying to do. And I think they're very successful at telling a story about IAE and introducing something you really care about, Jackson, Whitley's guide, and then his unspoken partner. You know, you end up enjoying and feeling like you're part. To me, I felt like I was part of the verse when I saw that my characters interacting with the environment. I think that Siege of Orson was a good jump, good attempt. I would like to see more events around other planets. Um, let's just be real. Orson's a very hard place to play, especially right now. I think Microtech would be a great place to maybe Ninetales or Xenothreat landed outside the city of Orson and they're trying to do a foot incursion or something,
I
and
think
then you're called into help.
in the future
New Babbage. Yeah.
we'll definitely have more of these events similar to Orson on
Mm-hmm.
on all the other planets probably at some point for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Shadow, what ship? Kind of got off topic there, and I apologize. What ship do you want to see for sure drop 100% that you could expect to reasonably see drop at IAE?
I already said that, but I I I know it won't come. So um one ship, and well, we already know that the spirit is not going to be there.
Yeah, there's no way.
There's no way.
Maybe in a
Um
hollow.
yeah, in the hollow. Uh as we know, the sprint for the spirit will come to an end in June of 23. So we know the SRV is in final art stage, and we don't. To be honest, we don't know if it's gonna drop. I know they don't have working tractor beams at this point, but it could drop just to be there and be ready for 318.
I can see this. Okay, so maybe some of these ships that you're talking about, like the SRV, if they are done with the ship itself, except for missing gameplay features, I think it'd be great for them to do what they did with the Vulture, where they just showed the Vulture off, where you can go climb in it, go see it, take a look at what the inside, what it looks like, what you're gonna get yourself into, have yourself a little tour. But they didn't have you fly it or anything like that, and
Yeah,
it's
not
still
straight to flyable,
still
but
still not going to be here till 318. But they could do that with the SRV. They could put that on the showroom floor for you to go walk around on and stuff.
right.
Why not?
But the one main ship that I would really like to see is the C8R.
Yeah, yeah, I can
Drop
definitely see that one.
Mm-hmm.
flyable, because medical gameplay is here. It's in.
Hmm.
That is one ship I want to see because that one I'm already writing a check for it so I can get it.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
be getting it too for sure. Yeah.
I'm
I
already set.
I will say this. I think it's safe to say that the talking about the galaxy. Something I wanted to point on there too is that they kind of touched on what CIG was talking about on the response to the leak of that is probably the mod. Like even if that ship still is in development, which I don't think it is. I don't think we're gonna get it. But their first thing about it was the big thing that everybody got so excited of when they heard was that it was modular. But also, from what I've been hearing, is that they're kind of getting away from the whole modular design. That they're not really wanting to do that in future plans and stuff. They might, I don't know, but and I could be completely wrong. But from what I've been hearing, they're trying to move away from that and just have sell the individual ships geared towards a certain, just a variant, towards a certain gameplay. So you'd have to buy that ship for that gameplay
Well,
as that variant. And
to be fair, not to cut you off, Joe, but the Spirit, that's exactly what they did.
yeah,
They made their cargo, their military bomber, and their transport.
yeah, and I'm
So there, that's the evidence right there.
well, I'm
Yeah, well,
that's what I'm saying is if the galaxy does show up in some form, then it would probably be variants, or it'd just
mhm.
be completely different from the stuff that we've been seeing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you can follow that up also with the Cutlass variants too. So the Cutlass Black, the Cutlass Black, Blue, Red, and Steel. Those all have dedicated focuses on what they do. So and then again, the Spirit, same thing. This Hercules, same thing. They all have dedicated things that those ships are meant to do, as opposed to having that modularity. I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think modularity with CIG uh, should be a thing they do. I think that when you talk about space travel, especially in a grand simulation, especially when you're traveling over several star systems, you need a dedication of what you're doing. You can't um, expect to change on a whim at the next space station on what you want your cargo hold to look like. You're going to want to be able to hold like a hull C. I shouldn't be able to switch out the ability to carry cargo on the outside with giant missile racks flying through space. Like I don't think
Well,
that should be a thing that should happen.
here's my thing on modularity. If it ever becomes a thing that you can do in game, um, I think it should be very expensive. It should be the same as buying another ship of the same caliber that you already have. So, like, if you had the Galaxy and what was pitched to us, then, going in to change out your modules, that should take a lot of fucking time and it should take a lot of money because it should be the last thing that you want to do is change the modules out. It should be the exact same thing as buying a crazy big ship. It should almost not even be worth it unless you have to. It should be like a last resort type of thing. Like the reason why anybody does that kind of stuff in real life to begin with is to take, like, if you're taking, like a car or like a bus or something and repurposing it for something completely different. It should take a lot of time, a lot of resources, and that kind of thing. So it's
Yeah.
and you're not going to just be able to just do it on the fly like everybody thinks. Like, oh, I could just park at a station, wait 30 minutes and then call it good. All of a sudden I got Endeavor medical capital ship, dedicated to medical. It's like, no, it should really suck to have to do that.
It's like akin to taking a school bus, ripping the guts out, and making it an RV.
Mhm.
Like it takes time, it takes effort, it takes planning.
Yeah.
It takes making sure you understand how plumbing, electricity
Mm-hmm.
works. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. I agree with you 100%. I don't think modularity should be a thing. I think what they should do with the Endeavor is sell variants on the Endeavor, or you can purchase those modules independently, and those just apply to your ship before you load into the game, but you can't change them
I
in
think you.
game.
I think modularity should be in the game, and but with that one condition of it should really fucking suck.
Yeah.
To like you should have that choice. I think because I think when you have something as a sandbox like what we have or what we want, you want the choices to be able to do whatever the hell you want, and I think you should be able to have the choice of modularity. But yeah, it's gonna suck, and you're probably not gonna want to do it. You're gonna have to be in a certain situation where you're gonna
Mm.
need to do it, and you have no other choice. But
Mm.
also you should have the choice of the variants, you know, and just flat out just buying the variant.
I, if they do modularity, I think it should be the last thing on the list.
Yeah,
I don't think it should be.
I agree
I
too.
don't think we should be touching it anytime soon. I mean, the Endeavor is already a gargantuous ship to begin with. Imagine million of well, there won't be a million of those things, but you know what I'm saying. There'll be a lot of those things floating out in space, and then all of a sudden you see them swapping out modules. It's like,
And then what happens? So let's say you have like a cargo module that's like full cargo, and then you all of a sudden switch it to a different module, like the medical module or like the telescope or something. What happens to that cargo? Either move
Yeah,
it
it's gonna
out.
be
You either
sitting
move
there
it out or you
floating.
lose it.
It's gonna be floating.
yeah, there's
So
pirate target right there. Is what this good point, Shadow. Yeah, it's just gonna be floating.
so if you're going to do modularity, it has to be at your home base. You have to the module has to be there. It's going to take time to install that module, right?
Yeah,
And then go out. So this is where in my mind modularity's cool, but you've got to think of what you're going to be doing with that ship with that module and be prepared to take care of that module the whole time that ship is out.
I
yeah.
think. I think.
Especially
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, bud. Go ahead.
I was gonna say everything we're talking about modularity. I think the same principles should be applied to base building and outpost building and all that.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't be able to just swap out like, oh, I want to move my buildings here. It just because I don't like the way it looks today. I don't think it should be that easy. I think
No,
it should take a lot of effort and time and money,
it's going to take time.
supplies.
Because, I
Yeah.
mean,
Hmm.
okay, we're talking about Star Citizen, the life simulator at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take time to do things. You know, you got to fabricate a module for a base. And then drop it and then connect everything so it works. It's that's what they're talking about. That's what we should get. Plain simple.
We went a little off topic, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So steering back on here, at IAE, we're gonna see several things. So let's I think we kind of said what we wanted to say about IE. Like, hey, ships are coming. It's gonna look cool. It's gonna be a fun experience. Just as a reminder, like every manufacturer has a 48-hour window that you'll see them, and they'll have ships for sale for that manufacturer during that 48-hour window. And subsequent of that, every 24 hours, another manufacturer comes online or comes on the show that you can see. And then I believe at the end it is everybody's kind of on the floor at that point where you can kind of look at everything.
Yeah.
And limited sales ships occur during IAE. I'm talking like your Krakens and stuff like that. Your Idrises. Real
And
limited stuff. And they're but
I was gonna say no. The specifics all of the limited ship sales come out Thursday.
Yeah. Usually they do it every. I don't want to say every 12 hours. It's more like every 8 hours or so that they run a
I don't remember. I
drop.
never had the ability to be able to participate in one of those. I only dream.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't think I'm gonna have enough money for something like that. But I think I got. I've been sort of saving kind of since last IAE for something big. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be wiping probably all of my fleet to
That's what I
get.
did.
Yeah. And I got some birthday money that I got my hands on that I'll be throwing down probably next week. I don't know if I'm going to keep the Corsair. I might. I mean, as everybody knows, MSR is my baby. Probably never going to get rid of that. I might melt it all just to get the standalone MSR. That way I don't have a huge chain and it bothers me. I don't know why it bothers me to have huge chains like that.
My
Just
my plan, my way of thinking when it comes to buying ships with real money versus in game is I'm going to end up melting the ships that are very cheap in game,
mm-hmm.
and anything that's reasonably priced within game, I'm going to end up melting in real life. And
Mm-hmm.
so that way the only ships that I've bought with real money are like the big massive ships that are going to be, you know, like if you tried to get it in game, it's going to take quite a long time to earn your way up, you know, like the BMM or the Endeavor or anything like that. But yeah, everything else is going to be gone.
Yeah, I have a straight line of sight on what I'm getting. The whole C, and I'm probably going to get an Auto C or a Carrick is my other choices.
I want a Carrick so bad.
I love Carricks, and you know it's going to be for sale this year, obviously. But the loaner for a Odyssey is a Carrick and one other ship, and I can't remember. I think it's a Misk, so like maybe a Misk Max, Freelancer Max. I think I have to look it up, but
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
remember either.
we'll see. We'll see how this IE goes. I'm pretty
What are you
excited. I
talking
can't.
about? Loner Matrix?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. The Odyssey's Loaner Matrix is a Carrick, I believe, and a Misk Max, Freelancer Max,
Mm,
which is published on CIG Lives, rockspaceindustries.com.
yeah.
So, yeah. Um, Shadow, you got anything else to add on the last bit of that?
No, I'm all good.
Okay, cool.
Like I say, the I'm really wanting to see the CAR.
CRV.
Yeah,
Um, I have a question to ask you guys though for the
yeah.
limited ship sales.
Uh-oh.
If you could pick one, which one?
Say again, Joe?
The limited
Ooh.
ship sales that they have
Mm-hmm.
for like
Mm-hmm.
the Pioneer,
Oh.
Kraken. Which one would you pick if you had the money to pick one?
Let's double check what there
And there was
are.
no time where you could just get in there and get it, grab it.
Trying to remember.
The
Hold on.
Cutter
What?
and the Corsair.
No.
Well, that's not.
The limited sales. So like the Pioneer, you can't just flat out go out and buy it. It's only like within a little window.
Uh, just some interesting news on Star Citizen leaks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and answer it real quick, and then we'll get into the news.
My um, I want to. If I was going limited, I would get a Kraken. That is the only Drake ship that I would want, due to the fact that when I go into Pyro, I want a mobile base.
And you're gonna be able to sell stuff from it too.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. That's gonna be the ship. I think everybody's gonna be based around. I think most fleets will be based around a Kraken. I would go for the Pioneer though, even though I know that the Kraken's probably gonna come out first.
See, I'm torn. I think the Kraken would be amazing to have, but I know everybody who's got the military mind wants like a javelin or something.
Nah,
Trying to
I'm good.
remember.
I got friends for
I'm
that.
trying to. Right, exactly. I'm trying to remember all of the limited ship sale, like all the ships that are limited during
Oh,
those sales.
890 jump. Um,
Is
you
the
know
890
the well,
890 jump isn't on there? Is it? No, it's not.
the 890 jump doesn't sell that often.
But it's not a
Oh,
limited sale, is it? Here, you know what? Let me pull it up.
You can
yeah.
buy it in game, but people that want to
Is
own it, um, it
I,
doesn't come up that often.
no, it doesn't come up that often, but I don't think it's a limited sale. I think it's only available by IAE. Limited ship sales, for those who are unaware, are ships that they only have a certain amount of quote unquote stock with. Um, and I don't think that is a limited sale. Oh, it is quantity limited sales. It is. It, so yeah, the 890 jump is a quantity limited sale. Okay.
interesting
Wow.
because I sworn I've seen it up there
Yeah, me
more
too.
often than I thought, but maybe not. We'll see this year. We'll see
That's
when.
probably why it's so expensive in game too. Let's see here. I wonder. I can't find a list of the limited sales, but
Yeah, I'm having trouble too.
I guess if I had to absolutely pick without remembering all of them, um, probably a Kraken for until Argo or Misk has something that big or something in the unlimited sales. The reason I would choose the Kraken is as an industrial org, you're talking about mining, you're talking about offloading, materials, stuff like that, trade and stuff like that. So yeah, that's really the only reason I would have that. I would do a Genesis Starliner if it was in game or coming out anytime soon. That would definitely be something. I think the Genesis Starliner is a limited sale ship too. Uh,
I'm always so surprised about people when they pick that thing or any sort of like transport ship, just because I'm pretty convinced that the gameplay when it does come out is not going to be that fun. I think it's a great looking ship. I love how old the Starliner looks, but
it's
kind
so
of got a
cool.
classic look to it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. I'm gonna make my answer. Um, it's a time limit. It's a time limited sale. So yeah, I'll pick the Genesis Starlater simply because my org is a transportation org. So
I forgot about that. I forgot your org does that.
yeah, that's what we're. Yeah, it's all we are. Like it's all we focus on is Imperial. It's logistics and handling and moving stuff. So if like a military org says, "Hey, I got like 15 tanks that need to get moved," so we all pop into some Hercules and
Oh
just
man.
lift every one of their tanks and move it, something like that.
All right.
But
Well, Shadow, you wanna get into what you saw on the leaks?
Um, from what I saw, I just saw two screenshots for the Drake Cutter and the Drake Corsair
Ah,
that
okay.
are for I mean, just straight out Drake for the IAE, and it states IAE for the cutter.
I, you know what? That's probably. I don't know if it'll be a straight to flyable, but if it
Right,
is, it's going to be awesome.
right.
I would be happy to see what that is. I wonder how big it is. Will you please stop? I got
I
a
don't know.
shepherd. I got a shepherd over here, constantly walking over here, say, "Hey, Dad, here's the bone." Drop. Love you too, girl. So our second topic
Uh oh,
is what?
three. sorry, 318 EPTU now available for download.
Sweet. Now I can go in and
No, that's Avocati.
Yeah,
oh,
that's Avocati.
got me all excited and hot bothered for nothing. I tell you
Sorry.
what. All good, all good. Okay. Well, yeah, our second topic tonight, I know it's a bit long-winded and I apologize. It's Gen 12. I guess we can kind of, if we wanted to keep this simple, we can. So I understand it. I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. Do you guys understand? Do you guys understand and are excited for the Gen 12 update?
Yeah,
Very much so.
I get I get the gist of pretty much what they're saying about Gen 12 and how it works and everything. Well, yeah, I mean, of course, like we're gonna be excited because we kind of understand enough about it at least, and how important it is. But I think a lot of new players and a lot of other people who just don't follow stuff like that, they're not really going to be excited because
No.
they don't understand how big it's going to be
Yeah.
for the game.
Especially players that are just starting this year in the late of this year. And I remember several years ago that, the performance was just terrible. And that's how it been. I was getting 20 frames a second when I first started at best.
Oh
And
yeah.
now I'm getting, yeah. And now I'm getting 45 to 55 frames a second. It's smooth. And I'm playing on 4K. And all that stuff. And then the next major update that's hidden is this Gen 12 renderer, which will take the remaining of things off the CPU and put them on the GPU. And just to reiterate for those at home who don't understand the technology very well, basically it makes one part do the job that's supposed to do the job instead of leaving it on another part that is not doing the job. It's the best way I can describe it. Yeah, and for those who, right now, all of us basically play on the same level when it comes to everything. Like, we play on the same thing. Like, RAM is your biggest proponent, and NVMe drive is your biggest proponent. Graphics cards aren't really the proponent until 318. 318 will give the keys. It rearranges the room to be better used. And because of that, it's more efficient at getting to the spots. And let's say, let's say legacy code was that all your papers were on the floor and you had one guy running through all these papers figuring things out. What they did with the Gen 12 renderer is they took all those papers on the floor, moved them off the floor that didn't belong there, and put them in a filing cabinet where they belong. And now you have a person dedicated to go to that filing cabinet to look for exactly what they need. So it's more efficient to get exactly what you need and to display it on your screen. So specifically the Gen 12 renderer is for graphics and how graphics work. Currently we got the geometry renders on the Gen 12 renderer, scenes render on the CPU right now. And that's a big thing. So like the moment you move from scene rendering into it, because that's a big chunk of it, into the graphics cards, your graphics cards are going to start mattering. And then optimization comes behind that. It's going to start mattering if you're running a 1060, a 760, a 560 versus a 1080 Ti versus a 2080 Ti versus a 3090 and stuff like that. It's going to start making a difference. And so that's just the big thing. I just want to make people aware that changes are coming, as Bob Dylan once said.
Yeah, I think my past with playing the game, like when I first started off, it was terrible mostly because my computer just couldn't handle it. I had a really bad computer with old components, and I think on average back then I was getting probably like 18 frames per second, and even less like Orson, I was getting like 7 or 5, something like that.
It's so bad.
But now I have a $4,000 computer with all the new stuff in it, and my 3080 Ti is running almost at 100%, and my graphics card is running probably. I think last time I looked, it was like 30 or 40% or something like that. So, it's gonna be, and that's with everything maxed out in the settings.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, my right now what I'm getting, I think even on Orison, my average FPS is a little bit above 30. I think I'm getting like 38.
Yeah, and that's really good for Star Citizen. It's very playable.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I could. I mean, I've gotten used to playing, average of like 20 FPS. So I think 30 is like woohoo, anything I can
Right,
get.
exactly.
Um,
And when you go play another game at it, just to go try another game, you're like, why is everything so good?
yeah. So, yeah, Gen 12 is gonna make it so. Yeah, the common
Right.
man, the person with the bad PC, can actually play too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's important. Yeah. Shadow, you got anything to add?
Well, when I got in last year, right, and I started out in Loreville, and my PC, I have a 3060 RTX.
Mhm.
It was so choppy and it was horrible. And I was like, oh my God. So I'm thinking because of all the things around me that made it so bad, it took time for it to render and it was just so choppy. Move to Microtech. Even worse. Okay.
Mm,
Until somebody told me to max out my graphics.
yeah,
And
well,
once I did that, I was able to play the game decently. I'm not saying that, all the choppiness and everything went away, but once it settled out, it was great. So now with this, when they started adding Gen 12 and 317, that was the first iteration. I didn't get a flag that I was syncing to Area 18. I didn't get that anymore because you would see it pop up on the screen, resyncing for it to load in. Now I don't even get that. And to me, right now, Gen 12 is going to be a godsend to the game. I right now I'm getting 49 to 50 frames per second, where when I started, I was probably getting 20 or less. It just depended on where I was. So it's going to make a big difference.
yeah, definitely.
It's huge. That's all I got.
It's going to be the start of Star Citizen actually being something playable for everybody, and it's just going to be a lot of the complaints are going to go away. So it's
I
going to
think
be
so too.
relieve a big headache for a lot of people. So
Well,
Seems to fix a lot
this
of problems.
this is a big thing. When 318 drops and Gen 12 is in, Orison is not going to be such a pain to go to.
well, it's
Yeah,
not even
absolutely.
really big of a pain right now.
No, it's changed
It's gotten a lot
considerably.
better. You can actually go there now. Like before, you couldn't go there. You couldn't go there.
Yeah,
Right,
no, it was like slideshow city all the way down there.
right,
And
Yeah,
if you're
but now
right.
now you can actually go and do things and enjoy the Siege of Orison and do what you
Mhm.
got to do.
Yeah,
So
it's still a little choppy when you first get there, of course, because everything is rendering in.
mhm.
But with Gen 12, it's going to make a big difference. We'll see.
Yep. All
But
right, well,
that's all I got, man.
right
Me
on,
too.
right on. Yeah, that's all I got too. I think Joe, you said you're done. Is that what I just heard?
Yeah,
Or
that's
were you
it.
speaking?
We are going on an hour and 20 minutes, so I would say that's a good chunk of change right there.
Good chunk of change, yeah. All right, so I would say expect another podcast soon. I know we're kind of working out schedule and stuff like that, trying to figure that out. So, you know, I I appreciate these. I have fun with these. Thanks, guys, for helping me. Thanks, guys, for letting me lead this one.
Sure.
Listener out there, see you in the verse.